So Dr. Michael Lyon is with us because you know what? The problem that a lot of us have is that we seem to be constantly hungry, so we eat, and then we gain weight. But Dr. Lyon's going to help us break that habit. Good morning.
Good morning.
Is it possible to break that habit? I mean, it just seems like a natural reaction.
Well, the first thing I'd say is it isn't just a habit. Once you've gained a certain amount of weight, your whole physiology that regulates appetite changes. And then you start focusing on things you do with your willpower to change your habits. And in reality, there's something deeper than willpower, and that is the appetite centers in your brain that are there to ensure your survival are now kind of haywire.
So we have to break our body of the actual habit. It's not a psychological thing, is what you're telling me.
It's not about breaking. It's not about discipline. It's about gentle ways of restoring normal appetite regulation, and that's what we've been researching and doing at our center.
Right. In your book, which is called Hunger Free Forever, then, is it a long process, or is it hard to do this?
There's steps along the way. The first step that is the most radical and the thing that is totally different from other programs is to restore normal blood sugar regulation.
Okay.
The reason why I say it's radical is that our center, the Canadian Centre for Functional Medicine, was the first research center in the world to use new technology that monitors blood sugar continuously. It's a little device that's about the size of a thumbnail.
Right.
People wear it usually on the back of the arm or on the abdomen, and there's a little catheter that is under the skin in the subcutaneous tissue measuring blood sugar all the time. And then we can download that to the computer and look at the blood sugar throughout the day.
And where we're having problems, right?
Well, what we found is people with weight problems, their blood sugar goes up and down literally like a roller coaster. And every time the blood sugar drops, which can be dozens and dozens of times per day, the brain gets scared of that rapidly dropping blood sugar, and it signals you to eat. It gives you that feeling like you should eat.
Well, in our habits then, where are we going wrong?
Well, there's a lot of things that have added up to this situation, but basically larger portion sizes, food that's higher in calories than it ever was before, higher in fat, and so on, higher glycemic index foods. And just the more availability of food today than ever has led to a lot of people gradually gaining weight. And once your weight goes past a certain size, the fat inside your belly turns into an endocrine gland that actually starts to secrete hormones and substances that then drive appetite up.
Is that why some people have such a hard time losing weight past a certain point?
Exactly. Once you've gained a certain amount of weight,
it's really essentially kind of like part of your body.
Yeah,
right?
It's almost like inviting a monster to come live inside your body when you gain weight, and that monster starts to take control. It wants to eat and it wants to grow.
Is what you're talking about.
Sort of like that. The belly fat is like an alien inside your body that basically starts to take charge of your weight.
So then what have you found? What's the most effective way in dealing with that?
Well, there's really three keys. One is to restore blood sugar control. The other is to teach people how to eat to achieve a feeling of satiety or satisfaction with each meal.
Right.
And then we look at dietary habits. We don't do that first until we've got appetite under control.
Okay, so let's start with the first one then, the blood sugar. What's the best way for people to control that?
Well, what we've been working with is a discovery from University of Toronto called polyglycoplex, or PGX. This is a unique polysaccharide. It's sort of like a super fiber that absorbs 200 times its weight in water.
Okay, that's what you've got here, right? This is an example of that. So
this
these
is
are
an
capsules.
example of 3 capsules that were opened up and put into a glass of water, and you can see it's absorbed water and it's created a gel. If you take, say, 6 capsules, it will literally create a volume in your stomach about 1 liter.
This is really thick, though. Like, that's...
Yeah, the idea is that mixes with food, it slows the emptying of the stomach, and it slows the absorption of carbohydrates into the bloodstream. So instead of seeing blood sugar surging after every meal, blood sugar just gently goes up and doesn't ever go hypoglycemic.
Isn't this just like fiber, though, when they say you should take more fiber, and that gives you that feeling of being full? Yeah,
to get the same effects as 5 grams of PGX, you'd have to take about 25 to 35 grams of any other fiber, which is totally impractical.
Yeah.
PGX makes it practical. You take, say, 2.5 to 5 grams before each meal. It adds an additional about 1 liter of food volume to your stomach with each meal. So you can eat half as much food and feel like you've eaten twice as much food. Okay, so once you've got that under control, that's the blood sugar part of it. Does that lead to the next part about reducing your appetite? Yeah, that adds to the next part, which is to use strategies to achieve and maintain high satiety, or that feeling of fullness. You take PGX with every meal. It helps to create that feeling of fullness. You also learn to consume foods, especially at the first part of the meal, like, say, a big salad first. Right. You start with a big salad with a small amount of dressing. Then when you turn to the higher calorie parts of your meal, you can eat with more control. Right. And you won't actually feel that. You won't feel that. That'll be something like you naturally will feel full. Yes. the whole idea is that when we sit down to eat nowadays, we tend to sort of postpone our meals until we're really hungry. Then you sit down and you kind of wolf down your food, and you're wolfing down food that's so high in calories, by the time you feel full, you've already eaten twice as much as you need.
Right.
So the idea here is that you need to learn to always keep that hunger at a very
At a
low
certain level. And how many meals in a day are we talking about, like for a proper diet?
Well, 3 good meals a day,
Right.
especially not skipping breakfast, and then appropriate snacks in between. So you're spreading your calories more evenly throughout the day. You're making sure you're getting protein spread out throughout the day.
Right.
And then, of course, you're creating a situation where your stomach is feeling fuller
Right.
than it normally would with the amount of calories
But
in your
not
stomach.
necessarily dieting, which is the beauty of that, right?
Yeah, if you're using dieting to lose weight, you can lose it and then you'll just gain it back.
Right, it's
so
not gonna work
that
for
isn't
you.
a long-term strategy, no.
Well, listen, thank you very much for the advice this morning. It is 9:05 and you're watching Breakfast Television.